Hey guys, we are going to do a quick review on factoring for our next couple of assignments. So we're going to start with GCF review and grouping review today. So that's what we're going to be working on today. So you have six problems, kind of two of each type. So we'll go ahead and get going on that. So after you finish watching this video, you'll click the link and go to EDIA, and these six problems will be there for you to do. That does give you different problems each time you do it, so you should have different numbers, but the same setup as far as your problems go. So looking at number one, we have 77m to the ninth, b to the fifth, plus m to the sixth, b to the eighth. Right? So remember, when we find a GCF for a polynomial like this, what we can do is we can look first at the numbers. So I'm going to think about 77 and 35. And I want to find a number that was going to go into both of those numbers. So when I see 77, the first number I think of that goes into 77 is going to be 7. So if I pull a 7 out of 77, that's going to give me 11. If I pull a 77 out of 35, that's going to give me a 5, right? And then I'm going to think, are there any other numbers that will also go into 11 and 5? And the answer is no. So when I come over here to write my answer, I'm going to pull out a 7, and it's going to leave an 11 in this first part, and it's going to leave 5 in the second. Now I'm leaving myself space here because I want to be able to go back and put the variables there that we're pulling out. So I'm going to erase this. All right, and now let's look at the m. So the first thing to know if we can pull out a variable is the variable in both terms? And yes, there is a m in both of these terms. So then I want to pull out as many m's as I can. So remember, having m to the ninth is like having m times m times m times m all the way up to 9 times, right? And so m to the 6 is the same thing, is up to 6 times. So I can pull all these 6 out. I can make that part of my GCF, and then that will leave me a 1 here, and then there won't be any more m's in this term. But if I pull m to the 6th out of m to the ninth, well, that's going to be 9m's divided by 6m's, which when we divide exponents, we subtract. So 9 minus 6 is 3. So that's going to leave m to the third in the first term. Let me rewrite that 11. That looks like it's kind of weird. All right, so this is 11m to the third. And in the second term, we just have a 5 right now because that m to the sixth all got pulled out and left a 1 there. All right, and then our last part is b's. Is there a b in both parts? Yes. And this time, the smallest exponent is on the front, so we're going to pull out the b to the fifth, which is going to leave us a 1 on this side. We're going to pull out a b to the fifth, which is going to leave us a b to the third on this side. So then we have b cubed over here, and we pulled out b to the fifth. So our final answer is going to be 7 m to the sixth, b to the fifth, times 11m cubed plus 5b cubed. All right, so let's scroll down, look at the next one. All right, so this time, when it randomly generated these numbers, it actually gave me the same numbers. So I'm already gonna recognize that it's gonna be 7 and it's gonna be my number coefficient. But what's different about these, even though they're both 77 and 35 like the last one? What is this? It's a negative sign. So that means I can pull out a -7 as part of my answer. Now, what can we pull out for the y's? I have y to the 8th and y to the 5th. So I'm going to pull out y to the 5th because it's the smaller of the two exponents. And then For the b's, I have b to the 8th and b to the 7th. So I can pull out b to the 7th because it's the smallest of my two exponents. Now, going back to see what's left behind, if I do negative 77 divided by negative 7, that's going to give me 11. And then y to the 8th divided by y to the 5th, that's going to be y to the 8th minus 5, which is y to the 3rd. And then b to the 8th divided by b to the 7th is going to be 8 minus 7, which is b to the 1st. Right? Now, we divided everything by this negative 7, right? So this negative 35 divided by negative 7 is now a positive 5. That's going to change our sign. So that's going to be 35 divided by 7 is going to be 5. It's negative divided by negative, so it's a positive 5, right? And then we decided we were taking out y to the 5th, so I don't have any y's left. And we decided we were taking out b to the 7th, so I don't have any b's left. So then that's my answer. You have to be really careful about that sign that became positive, because if I wanted to, I should be able to go back and get back to my original answer. And if we had a negative here, negative 7 times the negative 5 would give me a positive 35, and that wouldn't work. So we have to have that positive 5 because we need to be able to work backwards. All right. So that's pulling out a GCF. And then the next one is where we factor by grouping. So remember, when we factor by grouping, you want to get two terms together, you're going to factor, and these two terms together, you're going to factor, and you're going to use that to factor the whole thing. So what you want to look for is a GCF for this group. So this first group, I have 9a squared plus 13a. So you're always going to look for a number GCF and a variable GCF. All right, so for the number GCF, 9 and 13, I know factors for 9 are 1, 3, and 9. I can do 1 times 9 or 3 times 3. I also know that the factors for 13 are 1 and 13. There are no other factors for 13, and I can show that. 13 divided by 1, divided by 2, 13 divided by 3, 13 divided by 4, 13 divided by 5, 13 divided by 6, 13 divided by 7, 13 divided by 8, 13 divided by 9, 13 divided by 10, 13 divided by 11, 13 divided by 12. All right, so obviously 13 does not have any other factors. So then there's no number GCF we can pull out of this one. So then we look at the variables. So we have a squared and a. So what can we pull out of there? Well, they're both a's, right? What's the smallest exponent? It's a to the first. That's all we can pull out. So then we have 9a squared divided by a, right? 9 and a are not like terms. 9 is a coefficient, a is a variable. So we're not pulling any coefficient part out. So that's just going to stay 9. Then a squared divided by a is a, right? And the second part of that term, we have 13a divided by 13. Well, again, we don't have a coefficient we're pulling out, so the 13 is going to stay, and then a divided by a makes 1. So that's the end of that group. And then looking at the second group, we have 27 and 39. You might not recognize right away what the factors are for that, but you could try. All right, so I have 27. I'm pretty sure 9 is a coefficient for 27, or a factor for 27. It is. All right, let me try 39. Is 39 divisible by 9? Oh, no, it's not. All right. So what are other factors for 27? Well, I know if 9 is a factor, then 9 is 3 times 3, so 3 is a factor. So 27 divided by 3 is 9. What about 39 divided by 3? 13. Well, we just saw that the only factors for 13 are 1 and 13. So that means that if I take out 3, I get 9 and 13, and those are the smallest numbers I can get. So now I'm going to pull out a 3. But also notice, what are my signs here? I have a negative and a negative, right? So I want to pull out a -3 so I can make those both positive. Also notice that inside my parentheses over here, I have a +9 and a +13. So I want to end up with a +9 and a +13 right here. If I don't pull out a negative, they're going to be negative. So I want to make sure I do that so I can match the signs. So now I have -27 divided by -3 is going to give me a +9. And I don't have a variable to pull out, so I'm going to bring down the a. And then -39 divided by -3 is going to give me +13. Now at this point, you always want to go back and look and say, is what I have in my parentheses correct? Is it match? And it does. So we're good with that. We always want to check that though. So then I take what's inside my parentheses as one of my factors. So 9a plus 13 is one of my factors. And then the things that we pulled out, that's going to be our other factors. So that's going to be a minus 3. Right, so that's the way to factor that polynomial by grouping. And then this one's a little bit more straightforward, but it's going to be the same process. So I have c squared plus 5c. I don't have a number with the c, so I know I can't pull out the 5, but I can pull out the c, and that leaves me c plus 5. And then over here, I have 5c plus 25. Obviously, I don't have a c in both terms. I can take 5 out of 25, so I'm going to pull out a 5. And that gives me c plus 5. And then I have a c plus 5 and a c plus 5 in my parentheses. So those match, so we're good with that part. And then outside of my parentheses, I have a c plus 5. So that's going to be my other factor. So that's that. Next one, we have factor the polynomial by grouping. All right, this one is a little bit more complicated because we have two different variables here. So we have b cubed plus 4x squared minus 25x minus 100. All right, let's go down to this one. We'll skip that one for right now. I didn't think I put any in here that had two different variables, so I didn't mean to do that. I thought it was just gonna be a regular grouping, so we'll skip that one. I'll take that off if that's what it gives you on the assignment. I'll take that one off. All right, so this one, this is what I thought that last one was going to look like. It's got k cubed plus 2k squared. All right, so I don't have a coefficient here I can pull out, but I do have a k, and we want to be careful here because this one's 3 and this one's 2. The smallest exponent is the 2, so that's what we're going to pull out. We do k3 divided by k2, that's going to give us k, and over here 2k2 divided by k2 is going to give us 2. All right, on this side, I have 3k plus 6. I can pull out the 3. That leaves me k plus 2. All right, notice inside my parentheses, I still have k plus 2. So that's going to be my first factor. And then my other factor is going to be k squared plus 3. All right, have a good day. Thanks. Make sure you get all your work done.